In the Bronx, 1939, a boy named Ralph Lifshitz entered a world on the edge of war. Born on October 14th to Ashkenazi Jewish immigrants, Frieda and Frank Lifshitz, he was the youngest of 4 siblings. His parents had fled Belarus, seeking a better life, but found struggle instead. Frank, an artist-turned-house painter, scraped by, while Frieda raised their children in a cramped apartment on Mosholu Parkway. Ralph shared a bedroom with his brothers, wearing their hand-me-downs, a boy whose dreams were bigger than the borough he called home. Every Saturday, he'd escape to the movies, losing himself in the elegance of Cary Grant and Fred Astaire. "That's who I'll be," he whispered, mesmerized by their tailored suits and effortless grace. By 12, Ralph was already a hustler. Inspired by Hollywood's glamour, he sold ties to classmates, earning pocket money for the suits he craved. But his last name, Lifshitz, made him a target. Bullied relentlessly, he and his brother Jerry changed it to Lauren at 16, a shield against the taunts. After graduating from DeWitt Clinton High School in 1957, he enrolled at Baruch College to study business, but his heart wasn't in it. 2 years in, he dropped out, chasing something bigger. From 1962 to 1964, he served in the US Army, training as a supply clerk, a role that taught him grit and order, though he chafed at the loss of individuality. "You're a robot," he'd mutter, longing for the day he'd stand out. Back in New York, Ralph married Ricky Ann Lowe Beer in 1964, a partner who'd stand by him for decades. He took a job at Brooks Brothers, a sales assistant surrounded by the preppy style he adored. But the Bronx dreamer wanted more. He wanted to create, and soon he'd find his chance.
And I went to my boss and I said, "Can I make these ties?" And he said, "Ralph, no one's going to wear them. The world is not ready for Ralph Lauren."
In 1966, Ralph Lauren stood at a crossroads. At 27, he was a salesman at Brooks Brothers, surrounded by the Ivy League style he loved, but it wasn't enough. The fashion world was stuck on skinny ties, a uniform of conformity. Ralph saw something else: wide, bold ties, inspired by the Hollywood elegance he'd worshipped as a boy. "Men want to feel individual," he told his boss at Rivets and Company, a tie manufacturer he'd joined. They laughed. "The world isn't ready," they said. But Ralph was. In 1967, with a $50,000 loan from Norman Hilton, a clothing manufacturer, he launched Polo, a name he picked for its air of timeless class. He started small, working from a drawer in the Empire State Building. No office, no staff, just a vision. His ties were different, 4 inches wide, hand-stitched, with rich patterns that screamed confidence. He sold them himself, walking into Bloomingdale's with a box under his arm. They resisted. Too wide, too risky. But Ralph wouldn't budge. In 1969, Bloomingdale's gave in, ordering his ties on one condition: he'd design a private label for them. It was a foot in the door. By 1970, his ties were a hit, and he expanded into men's shirts, then a full menswear line. "I'm not just selling clothes," he told his wife Ricky. "I'm selling a dream." That dream caught fire. In 1970, Ralph won a Coty Award for menswear, the industry's nod to a rising star. Polo was no longer just ties, it was a lifestyle. But the fashion world was cutthroat, and Ralph was still an outsider. He'd need more than talent to break through. He'd need courage. By 1971, Ralph Lauren was no longer the Bronx dreamer. He was a force. At 32, he opened his first Polo boutique on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, a gamble that paid off. Hollywood noticed. That same year, he launched women's wear with tailored shirts, blending menswear elegance with feminine ease. In 1972, he debuted the Polo shirt, a mesh cotton icon with a pony logo, stitched with the sporty charm he'd always loved. It became a sensation, worn by everyone from prep school kids to movie stars. Ralph wasn't just designing clothes, He was crafting a world. In 1974, he dressed Robert Redford in The Great Gatsby, his crisp suits and pastel sweaters stealing the screen. "That's my America," Ralph said, watching the film. The world agreed. The 1970s cemented his rise. In 1977, he dressed Diane Keaton for Annie Hall. Her borrowed polo pieces, wide ties, vests, tweed, sparking a menswear for women trend. By 1978, he launched Polo Western wear, tapping into America's cowboy mythos, and introduced fragrances, Polo for men, Lauren for women. Sales soared. In 1983, he debuted Ralph Lauren Home, turning his vision into linens and furniture. "I design for life," he told Vogue, and by 1986, he opened a flagship store in New York's Rhinelander Mansion, a 20,000-square-foot temple to his aesthetic. His company went public in 1997, valued at $3 billion. Ralph Lauren wasn't just a brand, it was a global empire, with sales hitting $10 billion by the 2000s. From a Bronx tenement to a billion-dollar legacy, Ralph Lauren built more than fashion. He built a dream of timeless elegance. His story proves it. With vision and grit, anyone can stitch their name into history. The boy who sold ties became the man who dressed the world.